Here at the Melanin Initiative, we simplify medical information into language you can understand. We create a safe space for you to ask your questions and share a nursing perspective. Today, we'll be speaking with our special guest, Dr. Jose Arnold Tariga, a PhD trained nurse who specializes in education, leadership, and professional development. If you're new here, welcome to the Melanin Initiative. I'm Dr. Kimberly Madison, a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner and one of your co-hosts here, along with Alicia and Geraldine, who send their love in their absence. We're a health literacy podcast. When we say health literacy, we're talking about your ability to obtain information, to understand it, and then to use it, to manage your health and advocate for others. We have two missions here. The first, to promote that health literacy amongst the public and our peers. The second is to elevate the expertise of nurses, like we're going to be doing here with our friend Dr. Tariga, to bring awareness to all the career options in the industry. Again, with our guest is going to be showing us that today and informing our peers all the ways that we, as clinicians, we can leverage our expertise both in practice and in entrepreneurship. If you haven't already, this is your chance to subscribe. Give us a thumbs up, leave a comment or two, share it with your friends. When you interact with us like that, it shows the algorithm that this information is important, so that when people like you look for topics like this, we'll show up higher in their search results. This is a friendly reminder. This show is for educational purposes only. The opinions expressed here are our opinions alone. They are not a representation of any of our affiliations. If you think you might be having a medical emergency, you should seek medical attention and medical guidance from your healthcare provider. If you think you're having a physical emergency, you should call 911. If you or someone you know might be having a mental health emergency, you can call 988 or text 741-741. Family, gather around. Today we have a global nursing powerhouse in the building. Let me introduce you to someone whose name is synonymous with excellence in education, leadership, and professional development. Hailing from the Philippines and bringing more than 16 years of expertise across clinical and academic settings in the Philippines, the UAE, and the United States. This trailblazer is none other than the Dr. Jose Arnold Tariga, also known by some of you very affectionately as Dr. A. Dr. A has dedicated his life to molding the next generation of highly competent nurses through evidence-based, competency-driven education and professional development. With expertise spanning acute and long-term critical care, healthcare quality, and education program development, his mission is nothing short of visionary: to create a safer healthcare system supported by skilled, competent professionals. Now let's talk about accolades. This legend has recently been inducted as a fellow to the Faculty of Nursing and Midwifery of the Royal Colleges of Surgeons in Ireland. He's the Healthcare Professional of the Year of 2019 by the Filipino Times Award and a Distinguished Nurse Educator as recognized by Asia's Pinnacle Awards 2023. Not to mention his scholarly capstone at Harvard Medical School clinched first place, and he's sought after speaker as a LinkedIn top voice in educational leadership and an advocate for upskilling healthcare workers worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a change maker, a mentor, and a force for good, better known as Dr. A. Welcome to the Mel Initiative.
Thank you so much, Dr. Madison. And I so love the introduction. And thank you so much for the energy. Like, I'm just so excited to be here, and thank you for bringing me to the platform.
Yeah, it's such a delight. A very busy schedule, and the fact that you're taking out some of your time today to chat with us is not lost on us. We really appreciate your lending your time and talent, and excited to share your journey. Everyone has a unique journey, and you are no exception to that. Before we jump into that, we like to do a little icebreaker, kind of get to know you a little bit. So we'll have about 5 questions that we'll get through in about 5 minutes or less. So
Okay.
the first one is, what's the next big idea you want to be part of?
I would love to be part of creating a framework for internationally educated nurses to successfully integrate across the globe, like a global framework.
Okay, is that something you're working on?
Yes, sort of. Yes.
And what's the best thing that never happened to you?
The best thing that has never happened to me, I guess, is like traveling to many parts of the globe. Because I really love traveling, and I feel like, as an internationally educated nurse and as a person who loves traveling, like, there's still a lot of places that I haven't been to, and I really love to explore those places and like meet the beautiful people of this world and their beautiful cultures too.
And that's the best thing that never happened to you?
Sort of. I mean, like, I've traveled to a few places, but there are other places I really wanted to go.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your biggest challenge this week and how are you overcoming it?
Oh, challenge this week. The time zone difference with my teammates in the Philippines. I wanted to accomplish a lot of things with them this week because I'm traveling to the Philippines in 2 weeks' time. And because of the 12-hour time zone difference, I can only accomplish so much. So that's definitely one of the things that I'm struggling this week.
Hmm. Very popular question in the nursing streets. What is the difference between the DNP and PhD trained nurse?
Oh my God. I guess, wow. What I know is that DNP is more on the practice side of things, and then PhD is more on the research side of things. Although there's really a lot of interconnectedness now between DNP and PhD, because I also know a lot of DNPs working on research and a lot of PhDs working with clinical education, for example. Yeah.
And still seeing patients. Shout out to our alumni, Dr. Kimberly Safran at Mount Sinai. She is an NP who works in emergency medicine. She's PhD trained, still sees patients, still very involved in research. And we just like to highlight those misconceptions.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Last question, and I love this one because you're kind of, it's at the forefront of your mind. What season are you in now?
Season. See.
Oh, not the weather.
I was like, what season?
You were
Like
just, you were just talking about
winter season
the
in
weather.
Um, a season in my life, you mean?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Oh my God, I don't even know how. I don't know. I think I'm in a season of growing and expanding my self awareness as a person, as a professional, I would say.
Okay, and what about the personal side?
I think from a personal slash professional side, it's really more on like being more self aware on what I need to limit. Because like most of the time as a person, like, and I think this is part of the culture that I grew up with, like I like to please people, I like to say yes most of the time, and I find that to be a bit challenging, especially now that I'm here in the States. And for example, like I'm still supporting my family back home, and sometimes they might have requests that might be unrealistic, or like that might be too much to give from my side. So like I'm trying to start to balance that side of like, yes, it's okay to say no sometimes.
It's always okay to say no. And the best thing about saying no is that
Right, right.
it's a complete sentence. You don't have to explain yourself. And most of the time, no one cares. The no is all they need to hear to know what they need to do next.
Definitely. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
So, previously, you shared with me that you have this framework or philosophy when it comes to professional development called the ABCs of professional development. Can you tell our audience what do you mean by that?
Of course. So when I started working on the professional development pathway, I struggled personally as well, because I think coming from the Philippines to the Middle East and down the US, um, I would say that there was no guidance on like how do I venture into growing myself as a professional. It's basically like, you know, I see nurses, for example, back home, like when I see nurses, they are usually just working in the bedside, working towards the ladder from, a bedside nurse to a bedside, to a like clinical leader, and or some nursing educators moving up in the academies as well. So when I ventured outside of my home country, I've seen that, oh, there are other specialties too that actually we can move into. But there were some limitations, for example, in the Middle East, because the specialties there are not as wide and varied here as compared to the United States. And so when I ventured into professional development, I've sort of crafted my own pathway, or my ABCDs, professional development. And so my A is ascertain your passion and your purpose. So when venturing into your personal and professional development, it's always helpful to know what is your why. You have to assess what your why is, because that will then be your anchor as you move forward in trying to achieve those goals. Because I guess, like, I know that you're very well accomplished as well, and many of our listeners right now, we all know that when we want to achieve something, sometimes we might not be able to get that immediately. There might be a lot of redirections, pathways that are not straight, some hurdles along the way. But if you know your why, then chances are you can gravitate back towards it, and then you can continuously move forward. Aside from knowing your why, I'm not so sure if you're familiar with the concept of Ikigai or like the Venn diagram. So with the Ikigai, there are four circles that intertwine, and um, according to the concept, and this is like um, a Japanese term for your life's purpose. So if you would have answered, or if the answers of your four questions um, are correlated, and that you would have found your ikigai. So the four questions are: what are the things? What do you love? What are you good at? What does the world need? And what can you get paid for? I
Ooh.
know. So like when 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 I was transitioning in my career, I didn't know about ikigai, but like when I when I achieved, for example, like the current um, career goals that I have right now, I've realized that, oh my God, like looking at these four questions, I felt like I've achieved my ikigai because when I answered the first question, what do I love? I love teaching. I love sharing my knowledge. And then when I asked myself, what am I good at? Well, based on the feedback from my colleagues and my learners, they said that I'm good at teaching and sharing that knowledge too. And what does the world need? I think the world needs a lot of educators or people who are open to sharing what they know to help others.
Mhm.
And what can you get paid for? I mean, you can get paid for if you're a nurse educator, or if you work in either clinical education or academia. So when I tried looking at the interconnectedness of my answers to that question, I was like, oh wow, I was able to find my ikigai. And like right now, I feel like that's my life's purpose. So whether I'm planted in the clinical side, in the academia, or even now I'm in the corporate side of nursing, like I can still say that I'm still centered towards education and teaching because that is what my life's purpose is. So that's the A, assessing your passion and purpose. Um,
Before you move on, so yours was very succinct, right? And it seems
right,
so obvious now because you've settled into that role. And I'm
right,
just curious for our listeners, two kinds of, we have two, you talk about the season that you're in, right? We know there's a phase in our life for some people, they really struggle with that why. They really would struggle answering those four questions. It's when you tell yours, it's like it was perfect. It's a match made in heaven. But some other people might struggle with that. And we always talk about those early career folks, right? But we
right.
never talk about the people who are looking to transition into something different later, whose why has changed. Maybe their children have left the home, maybe they're retired, and they have to see themselves in a whole different light. Even the world changed, right?
Right.
And you ask yourself, maybe you followed your parents' dream, right? And for decades, and now you're really looking like, I really want to make sure I'm listening to my own voice. Do you have different advice for those two people, or would it be the same when it comes to answering those questions?
Welcome to Premier Endocrine and Wellness Clinic, a new way of endocrine care. My name is Dr. Peggy Amwakuhene. I'm a board certified internist and endocrinologist. I am the founder and CEO of Premier Endocrine and Wellness Clinic, and I serve patients in Virginia, DC, Maryland, and beyond. So which conditions do I manage? Apart from the usual diabetes, which could be type 1 or type 2 or diabetes in pregnancy, I also deal with thyroid-related disorders, whether you have an underactive thyroid, overactive thyroid, you have thyroid nodules, or even thyroid cancer. I treat those as well. The other things I deal with, PCOS, people who have bone-related issues like osteoporosis, adrenal-related issues like low cortisol or too much cortisol. These are things I specialize in. So why choose Premier Endocrine and Wellness Clinic? This is currently a virtual practice, so you can receive care from the comfort of your home. We're currently not a network with insurance, but rates are affordable and it will not break the bank. There are no hidden fees and there are no membership fees. To make your appointment, follow the link below.
I think my advice for those people is like, basically, I was like them as well. You know, as I said, like, finding my ikigai was very retrospective. Um, my advice for them is to continue searching the why, because I think listen to what your heart says and what you are most drawn to, because to your point, like sometimes there are some dreams that we are there are dreams that might not be our dreams, but we are living the dreams of other people. There's always this joke in the Philippines that being a nurse is actually a Filipino mom's dream, because it's usually like they want you to be a nurse so that you can go abroad, and like earn a good amount of money, which was the reality for many of us. Like I was one of them too. Like my initial dream was actually not to be a nurse because I'm scared of blood. Like my first, I can remember my first clinical exposure and because my first return demonstration for injections, Kimberly, was like I collapsed because I'm so scared of needles up until now. Like every time I go for like a checkup, it's like, is this gonna hurt me? And like the nurses will just laugh at me because like I was like, you're a nurse. It's like, but I'm scared of needles up until now. So yeah, I'm one of them. But what I've learned throughout life is you try living that life, and then what I've experienced is that life redirected me too. That's the thing. If it's not meant for you, it will not happen. And um, part of the reason why I transitioned to clinical education was at one point when I was growing in my career, I've always thought that clinical leadership was my pathway. And then that's what I pursued when I moved to the Middle East. And then at one point, I was demoted from a clinical leadership position because I did not fit the mold.
Mhm.
Um, and because of that, then I started, contemplating: is this really for me? And then it created a spark in my passion for teaching. And since then, after that demotion, everything just started like
That's the best thing that never happened to you. That's the
oh
air.
my God, yeah, yeah. This oh, thank you for helping me find that. Yeah, so um, that like happened just like I was like looking back now. I was like, oh my God, like if that didn't happen to me, I would not have been where I am right now. So it was painful at the moment. I thought it was a rejection, but
Mhm.
then it was actually a redirection to where I am right now.
Rejection to redirection. You're preaching here today. These are perfect. I'm a words. I love words, right?
Yeah.
So the best thing that never happened to me, rejection to redirect. You can have every show. I usually say, I tell the guests, you can take that one. You can take rejection to redirection for your next book. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
perfect. It's emotional, right? Since it creates a
Right.
sense of urgency. We know from you're in social media, so we understand the value of SEO. That's a attention grabbing headline. And I
Mhm.
love that question. What's the best thing that never happened? Because what it highlights is that we're all chasing something, right?
Sure.
And once we think that that's going to set us on some path, make us better, make us richer, make us more attractive, all these things. And then
Right.
when it doesn't happen, we have to revisit that why, that our self-identity. But later, as you're demonstrating, sometimes when things don't work out, it's actually not a bad thing. Sometimes those closing doors open up the opportunity for other doors.
Totally agree with that. Yeah, and I think that's the reason why, like right now, I can say that when I try to, when I have goals and I try to achieve them, and if it doesn't work, then I don't, you feel bad for a bit, but then I usually justify it that like a lot of things have happened in my life that has really redirected me to better things. So yes, if it did not happen, I will still give it a try. But then if after retrying, like it still is not working, then that's not meant for me, and maybe I need to set other goals.
Yes, thank you. And so you told us all about the A. I think we have a really good understanding of that one. And so what's the next step?
My next step is B, which is building a SMART plan. And I think like all nurses are so familiar with the SMART acronym. So we have to be specific. We have to set like measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound plan, because it really helps you evaluate whether are you progressing well, and is there a need for you to maybe reevaluate or maybe recalibrate and create another plan. So like for example, like if as as an educator, let's just say you want to publish research, but then you did not set a timeline for yourself to start working on a research study, then chances are you might not be able to publish up until the end of this year. But if you say that I want to publish at least one study by the end of 2025, then your subconscious will keep telling you that, oh, this is what your goals are, and you can set specific steps on how to achieve them. Maybe that could be partnering with another fellow educator or another nurse scientist, looking at conducting research too, and then working together to achieve that goal.
Or you could start your own internship like I did. And I
Oh,
shout out to Jade Trevino. She's my intern for the year. She's helping me do exactly what you just said.
oh,
Get those articles out faster.
that's amazing. Congratulations on working on that too. Like publishing is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, but it definitely helps us. I guess like especially with that, that helps build the foundation of nursing knowledge there too. So it's really important for us to do that.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's my B, and then C is creating a list of priorities. So what I've learned too is that yes, you create smart plans, and then you think about what are your goals in life, whether it's a short term or long term goal. But the problem is sometimes you come up with a lot of plans, you come up with a lot of goals, and you don't even know like what should I do first. So what I've learned is like I usually use the priority matrix. So
Hmm.
I rate my tasks or my goals based on impact and effort. So if it is, for example, low impact and then low effort, maybe that is something that I can do later. But if it's high impact and just low effort, that means that that can be a quick win for you. So I usually prioritize those high impact, low effort versus those low impact, low effort, or low impact, high effort. So for those that has low impact on my personal and professional life, I either delay them or maybe even discard them because it's
Give
not.
examples.
Um,
Low impact, low effort.
low effort, low impact, low effort is man, I can't even think
Let's
of
see. It's low impact and low effort.
low impact. So maybe like
How do you normally implement these ABCs? Is this something you implement in practice?
I do. I mean, like it's not that I follow them like every day, but like generally, like for example, when I sort of because what I do is like at this the typical start of the year when you plan ahead, because
Mhm.
I have created a system wherein like at the start of the year I plan for the entire year, but not just for the entire year because I usually set short term and long term goals,
Mhm.
but I use the start of the year as a time to evaluate my goals so that I have a time frame for the short term, which is usually 1 to 3 years, and then long term is 5 to 10 years.
Oh,
I can sort of change it, as I move along. And I have found it very helpful because, like, for example, if after a year my short term goals I haven't achieved many of them, then I'll review what are the steps that I'm missing, or am I doing things wrong, and do I need to adjust this year so that in 3 years time or in 2 years time I'm able to reach those short term goals that will feed into my long term goals too.
oh, this is interesting. So, I want to come back to your definition of of short. But the ABCs, do you teach this, or is this something you're teaching, or this is how you have built your career?
This is how I built my career, and I've shared this in some of the webinars that I've been invited to talk about professional development as well, like with Sigma and ANPD.
Hi, I'm Alicia from the Melanin Initiative podcast. Our mission is twofold. One, to simplify complex health information so you feel empowered to ask questions, educated on how to manage your health, and confident to navigate the healthcare system. And two, to elevate the expertise of nurses, spotlight the diverse career opportunities within the healthcare industry, and inform our peers how to leverage their expertise as clinicians and entrepreneurs. In less than 2 years, we've grown to over 50,000 views and 1,000 downloads with an international audience spanning the US, Canada, the UK, Australia, and more. Our engaged listeners are professionals, entrepreneurs aged 25 to 44 who value authentic, impactful content. Want to connect with this dynamic audience? Advertise with us. Send in your 1 minute video ad and let's amplify your brand. Email tmi.melanin@gmail.com for rates and details. Let's work together.
And in those webinars, do you provide like actionable steps for how people can implement this?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And so, when you do the low effort, low impact, what are you doing teaching
So
there?
like yeah, with a low effort, low impact. So let's say for example, posting in social media as part of my, because like I'm trying to maintain like an image, for example, in as a nurse
As
influencer.
LinkedIn top voice.
Yeah. So like um for me that's like, it's not this, yeah, it's somehow low impact if if my focus is my career as a nurse educator. And it's also low effort in a way, because like you can, what I do now is like you can just think of like specific things that you can share that are relatable as a professional, and then you can put it out there, but then it does not necessarily impact me, because like aside from it provides visibility in terms of my perspectives, like it does it does not necessarily like provide me with job opportunities, for example, or like impact my job or something like that.
But it could, and actually,
But it could
that's
too.
exactly how you ended up on this show.
Yeah. So
And it's
maybe that's
funny,
mid impact.
it's funny because you're saying, so because you have mastered social media, right? You can own that. You've mastered it. It's a low effort, but I know our friends out here who are still trying to just dip their foot in the game. They're saying social media, that's a lot of effort. I already have 20 things on my to-do list.
Right.
It's so interesting, our perspective on what we consider low impact or
Yeah.
low
Yeah.
effort. Yeah.
And I guess it has changed actually in terms of the social media, especially because when I was starting as a nurse, the reason why I actually um that like worked on my social media platform was when I was in the Middle East. There's this, and again, this is maybe like a cultural and systematic differences, as to how nurses are recognized and how nurses of color are recognized that are not Western trained. As a Filipino nurse coming to the Middle East, they have this preference for Western trained nurses, and it was so difficult for me and even for many of the non-Western trained nurses to grow in the ladder or to go up in the ladder. And it was because most of the time we are siloed that they are not capable of doing things because they are not Western trained. And what I've realized is that maybe because they do not know what we are capable of doing, because nobody is showing them. And that's what, when I started 10 years ago, I started my LinkedIn account and started posting what I was doing as a nurse educator in my facility, what are the initiatives that I was building. And over time, leaders from other hospitals were seeing that, oh, this guy has some initiatives in like developing competencies for their nurses, working towards accreditations, because like international accreditations like Joint Commission accreditations are big in the Middle East as well yeah. And that actually eventually led, or it opened an opportunity for me to be hired as a
Good job. You just said didn't get
at,
literally.
I know at the time, like, there was like high impact for me because,
Yeah.
and eventually, I guess, like, now that I've built sort of like my social media presence, of course, like, I still care about it because I want to make sure again, that I'm using my social media platform now to elevate the nursing profession, and to also showcase some of like personal experience, especially on the process of professional development, because sometimes people just see like successful posts and stuff like that, and sometimes other people are scared to post now because they think that social media is about just bragging what we have achieved and what we have accomplished, when in fact it's not. I think like that's what I want to put in my platform. I want to humanize it. It's not just about achieving something, it's also experiencing the failures and the challenges, but overcoming those failures and challenges, by working on yourself, by asking and by receiving help from others too.
I love that because now that whole impact effort, it's fluid, right? It
Right.
can change
Yeah.
throughout your profession, throughout your life. So I really love that. And 10 years in the game, wow, I'm still pretty new to social media. But 10 years in the game, do you have a master class?
I don't.
You should, and you should definitely do them.
Thank you
Yeah,
for bringing that up. Maybe I'll think about it. Yeah.
educators, people who aren't Western trained, even the language you're using is, unfamiliar to me. Yeah, and how you elevate it. I love what you just explained, how you're using social media, because in my conversations, we also are really trying to preach to nurses the power of social media. But now what you just explained, well, you have a unique perspective, because I'm usually talking to entrepreneurs and how to, but even entrepreneurs, but also clinicians, how we can provide credible information to the public. So that's usually the lens I come from. But what you just explained is powerful. And I don't hear that. So I love that you brought that up. I hope you own that and really capitalize on that, because you represent a large segment of our healthcare workforce. There's so many people who are not Western trained, as you described, who completely relate to everything you just said.
Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that. Yeah. And I really hope, that and that's one of the things that I always encourage, even my teammates now, for example, educators that are based in the Philippines, I tell them to be more active and to really just showcase what they can do. Because it's not just about bringing themselves up, but also bringing the nursing profession up, bringing nursing education out there, that there's a lot of things that we can do together.
And you know what? That masterclass should be about social media, doing exactly what you did, because you mastered it. That's 10 years. Some people say 10 years, 10,000 hours. That's what it takes. There's there's not many role models we can look to when it comes to being a healthcare leader and on social media. There's no manual. So I have a few people who I have followed. One of them is Dr. Antonio Webb. He's a orthopedic spine surgeon here in Texas, in San Antonio. He's been documenting his journey since med school. And now he has his own clinic, but he has his own studio. His own social media studio. Did you even think that would ever be a thing? But it's a real thing. So in your master class, that's what you're going to help people do. Help them master social media to elevate their profession as an educator, because there's not a lot of people talking about education, especially in my world. It's all about, I'm in derm, so I hear about med spas all the time, and clinical practice and patient-centered businesses. But we know there's a ton of people in education, and you can own that.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm thinking about it now.
Yeah. And you can go look at him and see how he's done, and just, follow the blueprint.
Right.
There's no need to make up new things. Just adopt it to what you do. And he actually does teach. He does teach other physicians, but he'll take your money. But I want to get back to this short-term goal, because when you said 1 to 3 years was short, two things popped up. As a PhD trained nurse, you're in school for like 6 years, or 6 or 7 years, right? So to you, that is short. Now, for the DMP trained nurse, like, especially if your project is about implementing something, in entrepreneurship, we say, fail fast so you can fix it fast, right? Same thing in DMP program, right? A lot of times we're implementing something and we want to reevaluate it in a week or two and fix it. So when you say short, I'm thinking like a quarter. So there's a book called The 12-Week Year. Do you know that book?
No, I'm not familiar with it.
So instead of waiting all year to December to say, oh, did I lose weight? Instead of setting a goal for 1 month, you set that same goal for 1 week and see how much you can get done in that 1 week. And then you reevaluate it in 12 weeks, 12-week year, as opposed to 12 months.
That's interesting. So yeah, I guess like in terms of like the duration, or like in terms of considering what is short and long term, maybe then it becomes really very subjective. And I guess like for my end, like for example, some of my short term goals, I don't think it can be achieved in a quarter, for example. So I guess like that's why, like, okay, I'm gonna put this as a short term, but it's like a 1 to 2 to 3 year duration, and then my long term, I usually like bucketize it in like 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. So it was a nice little exchange that we had to, because the path that we're on, right? Short and long term is very relative.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so let's hear the last part of your ABCs.
And then the last part is is D, which is developing an accountability system. So most of the time, like we set goals for ourselves, but then if you do not have an accountability system or even an accountability partner, nobody checks up on you. And I've learned that the hard way, like sometimes like, oh, I set my goals, but then sometimes there are really times that I'm so lazy or I'm so overwhelmed with a lot of things. And I was just like, I'm just going to stop, or I'm not going to do it. Or like, I'm just going to put it in the corner and then like come back at it when things are okay. And sometimes like other things come up that you don't recheck on those goals. But if you find someone, whether it's a family member, a mentor, that you set your goals with, and like you ask this person, can you please help check on my progress at specific times, like let's set up a regular cadence for you to check up on me. Then chances are when you get so overwhelmed with a lot of things, there will be that somebody, your accountability partner, who can check up on you and remind you that, oh, Arnold, you have to do this because like this is what we've set for yourself and this is going to benefit you. And I guess like we just need that someone or something that can remind us as to why are we doing this, what are you, because for me personally, like I do not set goals just for the sake of like doing it. Like there are definitely reasons behind why I'm setting these goals. And yeah, it's always good to have that reminder or someone reminding you as well. So accountability system or an accountability partner.
I love that. So I'm current at the time that we're filming this. I'm in an intensive 8-week business coaching program, which is my biggest launch ever. And in this program, we're encouraged to assign ourselves to an accountability partner. And you can make the group as small or as big as you want, but it's for all those reasons that you just said, right? To hold us accountable so you don't, because this path is lonely. And so to have someone else there, and we take for granted that when we're kids, our parents are technically our accountability partner. We get used to that. And then if you don't keep that system in place, it will show up later in how well you're able to implement your goals and how fast and how far you're able to go. And I believe in accountability because, as we're human social beings, we belong in community. We're meant to be together. And accountability is all about being together.
I agree.
Yeah, so we love that. And I love being you were so fun to talk to. And I really can't wait to hear more about first of all, your book, From Rejection to Redirection, and your masterclass community for social media, whatever you're going to call it, educators who aren't Western trained. You're going to come with something much more clever than that. But I look so forward to that. As we close out, what are 3 takeaways for our audience when it comes to professional development?
First takeaway will be it's okay to fail. Because I think like in professional development, sometimes we set goals and sometimes we are so hard on ourselves. It's always important to understand that failure is actually not the end of it. It's basically just like a way of telling you that this is not working. So maybe you need to replan, you need to rethink whether these are the right goals or like maybe you need to set other goals that will be beneficial for you. So yeah, it's okay to fail. Don't be so hard on yourself. 2, it's okay to say no. And I know that I'm still learning on that. I think in our professional lives, we want to add value, and sometimes, most of the time, like we want to be there for not just for ourselves but for other people too. And because of that, chances are you might be saying yes, even if you're so overwhelmed. And especially for people who are employees, like I'm an employee. So sometimes we are scared to say no to our bosses or our colleagues because we want to maintain that good rapport with them. But if you just explain, like, for example, if you have priorities right now, that's okay. They will, like what you said earlier, it's just, they just need to hear the no. And sometimes you don't even ask justification. If you want to, you can justify that, like you have priorities and that if you want to help, you can help after you're done with your priorities. And then 3rd takeaway will be kind to yourself. I think it's very important nowadays. I think we've learned a lot with everything that has happened over the last few years, especially during the pandemic. Like a lot of us nurses, wherever we work, whether you're in the clinical area, us non-clinical nurses, I think we pour our heart out, when we do something. That's a common theme among nurses that I've seen. Like we are just so passionate about what we do, to the point that sometimes we even pour out something even if we are empty. And like you cannot pour something out of an empty cup. So be kind to yourself, take care of yourself. Self-care is a must. And again, like the only way for you to share your love to the world is if you love yourself first.
Beautifully said. This was a fun episode. It was hilarious also. And yeah, I just loved hearing your story. And I mean, I talked to a lot of people, and it's so interesting. Everybody's story is so unique. There's certainly common themes throughout all of those stories, and you're no exception. And so we're so grateful, not only that you shared your keys for professional development, but that you've agreed to come back on and for your second episode, so we can delve deeper into that personal journey, which I think is phenomenal. And so we just want to invite everyone to come on back. Make sure you subscribe so that you can be notified when we release that episode. You can email us your questions and show ideas at tmi.melanin@gmail.com. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the thumbs up, hit the notification bell, leave a comment. Let Dr. A know how much you appreciate what he had to share, and how would you define your ABCs to professional development? At the time of this filming, we release new episodes on Sundays at noon Eastern on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and we drop the audio at 5 a.m. on your favorite podcast app, so that our night shift friends can be the first to get something and not the last. We thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.